Hey Audrey, I'm looking at today's work and this is the first one I see. So it says find the missing number. So you've got 741 minus f equals 372. So you've got this number here. It looks like these two added together. The problem is when you have subtraction, you're not going to add the minuend and the difference together. That you would add the subtrahend and the difference together. So we're going to solve it algebraically. That is so much easier than trying to remember what to add or what to flip. So what we are going to do is we're going to recognize that this is a positive number, this is a positive number. So we have a positive number and a negative number put together. So we're going to do the opposite of this positive and subtract it. Now it's the negative. It's the opposite of the sign. But we have to do that to both sides because it is an equation. And we have to keep this equal sign true. So to keep it balanced, we do the same thing, right? We've talked about that. So the positive 741 minus 741, that becomes 0. So we have a negative f is equal to whatever this is. So I'm going to just get on my calculator and say 372 minus 741. So I get a negative 369. Now we do not like to have negative variables, do we? So to get rid of that, we multiply everything by negative 1. And the reason for that, let me go backwards. The reason for that is when you have a negative variable, what you actually have is it's saying the opposite of this value is this negative number or this number, whatever it is. So it's really saying negative 1 times f is equal to negative 369. So in order to undo this negative 1 times the letter, we do it again. So then these two negatives cancel out. So now we just have a positive f and a positive 369. Now if we take that 369 and substitute it in for f, 741 minus 369, that should equal 372. So let's see, we'll double check. 741 minus 369 equals 372. Okay, now the other way to do that, the way that the book or the way that we've explained previously, is to swap the f for the difference. So if you had said 741 minus 372 is equal to f, 741 minus 372, 369, which is the value of f right here, right? That would have then given you the right answer. So you can swap these two when it's subtraction, but you cannot swap the first and the last, okay? So remember that. You can swap out the subtrahend and the difference back and forth to find out what this missing variable is, but you cannot combine the minuend and the difference. It's just, that's just the opposite of what we're trying to do. Okay, so think about, this is the long process, the algebraic process. This is the shorter common sense process. This explains this. Okay, anybody can do this part. This is just a step-by-step process. This is the one that requires a little bit of abstract thought of which one do I use. This one doesn't require any abstract thought at all. You just follow the opposite operation all the way through like you normally would. So whichever way you need to think about it, that's the way you need to do it, right? Okay, let's look at the next one that you had a problem with. Okay, all of these are correct. It's just that you put the lowercase x instead of a multiplication symbol. This is the letter X, not times. So if you had used the basic math symbol of that multiplication X, let me show you where that is. Hold on. Okay, so right here in this one right here, if you had used you have the algebra, the multiplication dot, or you have the basic math multiplication symbol. Either one of those special characters, it'll mark it right. So let me go through and be 6 times 10,000 plus 4 times 1,000. I'm not sure if I did the comma or not. We'll see. Let me go back at that. I didn't. And usually in the 4 places, you don't use a comma until you get to 10,000. Plus 3 times 10. And I'm going to mix it up just to show you that it will take it either way. 3 times 10. So you don't want to have a double parenthesis there. You don't want to have 2 of those. Okay. So make sure you only have 1 set of parentheses around each of those. When that looks right, then you should be able to. I'm just going to put an X in here for the sake of having it. So let me check. And it doesn't mark anything right because of the way it was put in a box. So let's redo that. Let me see what the dealio is. It may be something about, let me go to edit. Let's figure this out. So accept math equivalent is in there. So I'm not sure why it's not taking it other than the fact that it is in. It's just wanting this multiplication symbol. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to change that. So now it should take this X as well. But it will not take the letter X from your keyboard. Okay. All right. Let's go back to this. So these are technically all correct. This is right, this is right, this is right. You understand how to do all of that. So I'm just going to manually mark that correct. And I have to do that anyway for some of these problems in the system. Don't stress out about it. Just when you see it, let me know so I can fix it and get it marked right for you. So don't stress out. I'm going to go ahead and mark that right now, if you'll give me just a second. Okay, so that was the first one, and that's right. That's the second one. Matches. Third one. Matches. So you got all 3 of those correct. So that is now your score for that one, okay? All right, so let's go back and look at this is the next one that you got incorrect. So let me go back and look at those answers. Okay, so on the next one, the correct answer should have been 85,000. So you've got 80,000 and 5,000 here. So 85,325. You've got 85,315,000. So I'm not sure what happened. And here we've got 6,606. You've got 6,106. So you've got a typo there. And here we've got 300,000, so 320,000. So 320,907. So it should have been 320,907. Okay. Take the time when you're doing these. Let me show you a way to do those that might help you out. Let's bring that over here. As you're doing these problems, I want you to take, and there's not going to be a whole lot of these. We're not going to spend a lot of time because they're fairly explanatory. and we'll get past them pretty quick. But as you do these, just write it out like this: 80,000. Okay, that's the first one. 5 times 1,000, that's 5,000, right? And then 300, that's 300. And then 20, and then 5. And then you just bring everything down, and you know it's in the right spot, right? Instead of this one. So if you write it on top of each other in a stack method, when you see it written in expanded form, it makes it a lot easier to bring it down into the right place if you just take them independently and put each one on a new line. So try that. Go back and redo this particular problem so that you can see that for yourself. Okay? Let's look at another one. Okay, so here is another one of those where we just need to swap this one and this one. So we need to say 800 minus 436 is going to equal m. Okay, so if we pull up our calculator, 800 minus 436 is 364. And I guess technically the way that we should write that, we are swapping these two. So what do we say that was? 364 is the value of m, because we're solving this side and keeping the letter m on this side. If you do it the algebraic way, we subtract 800 because we know this is a positive 800, so we do the opposite. This cancels. We have a negative m because you can't get rid of the negative sign. And then we would have 436 minus 800 is negative 364. Of course, we know that that's actually negative 1 times m is equal to negative 364. So we get rid of that negative sign by multiplying everything by negative 1, which just makes that m is equal to a positive 364, which is what we got over here by just swapping the subtrahend and the difference. Okay, remember that step. That's the way you're going to want to do it the common sense way, right? We know that these two parts added together is going to give us the original total. And that's why we can swap these two. All right, so look at it like that. And last but not least, we have this problem. Round 716,487,250 to the nearest 10 million. So you got to remember the pattern. We have ones, we have tens, and then we have hundreds in every grouping. So it's hundreds, tens, ones, and then a comma. Hundreds, tens, ones, and then a comma. Hundreds, tens, ones, and then a comma. So that would mean this is hundreds, 100 million, 10 million, 1 million. So the 10 million place is right here. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at this 1, right? This is the number that gets rounded. Can we round it up? Is the number to the right 5 or more? It is. So that means we're going to go up. So that should be 700. We're going to round the 1 up to a 2 because this means it's over halfway to the 2 anyway. It's 6,487,250 is over halfway to the next 10 million. So that right there should be the correct answer because the 10 millions place is the one we're rounding to. Okay, so look at that one again as well. And that's all I've got. If you need more help, please let me know.